Hey guys, it's Siobhan with The Kitty and Beyond. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing monthly horoscope videos for Taurus, and that can apply to Taurus sun, moon, or rising, or possibly Venus as well. Keep in mind that these are general readings, so not all of the information or messages is going to apply to everybody. Just take what resonates with you and leave the rest. I also recommend that you check out your moon and rising sign videos as well as your sun sign. That way you get a more holistic idea of what's going on with the energy affecting you this month. And so this is for November, if I didn't say that already. I can't remember. So happy Thanksgiving to my American viewers out there. I'm up in Canada and we already had our Thanksgiving, but I figured I would stick with the fall autumn theme for November. All right, so let's see. Now this is a general reading. I am going to pull some love cards at the end, but this monthly forecast is more general. It'll cover everything from love, career, to spirituality. So we'll just see what comes up. Okay, so Taurus. All right, Taurus, your current self is coming up as the Seven of Wands. The theme of the month is the Two of Pentacles. The key goal is the Knight of Swords. The obstacle to overcome, we have the Eight of Pentacles. Let's see if I can move these a bit. The major accomplishment is the Nine of Cups. What to avoid is the World. What to embrace is the Four of Wands. Where to find support, we have the Two of Swords. Advice and encouragement is the Sun. Okay. So right off the bat, I just wanted to mention that the Two of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords came up in the Aries reading as well. And I shuffled the cards a lot in between these two readings, even though you guys are back to back. So you may have Aries or, you may have Aries in your chart somewhere. So if you don't know, it'd be good to check that out. Okay, so Taurus, your current self, the energy that you're embodying in the month of November is coming up as the Seven of Wands. So this can be a little bit defensive. You may need to stand your ground. You may be being called to stand up for yourself in some way or to defend your beliefs. This could also be about how you address challenges from other people or how you address other people's opinions when they are directed towards you. So there may be a need to set boundaries in the month of November. Boundaries could be an overall theme or something that you're focusing on within your own energy this month. Now, the theme of the month is the Two of Pentacles. So these boundaries could be around how much you take on and how you balance what you have taken on. So the Two of Pentacles is really just about learning to balance things, to juggle, to multitask, to create harmony, but it can also be about a decision. There may be some very physical decisions that you have to make. Pentacles are around finances, but they can also be around possessions or your physical bodies to do with health and things like that. So this can also just be, finances and work, career related, but there's something to do with boundaries and finding balance for yourself and how much you take on from other people potentially. So perhaps setting the boundaries will help you to find the balance so that you're not juggling, 6 things at once. It's a lot easier to juggle 2 things and to be able to do 2 things at once. You don't want to spread yourself too thin because then the job all of the many jobs that you're doing end up not being done as well as they could be if you were just focusing on 1 or 2 things. So the key goal this month, we have the Knight of Swords. Now the goal here with the Knight of Swords is very much fast moving, action oriented, intellectual thought. So you may feel drawn to move forward really quickly in something that you believe or to speak your mind very truthfully. And perhaps that is why you feel a little bit defensive, because when you put yourself out there in that way, sometimes even if there isn't any opposition, you may feel as though it's a potential outcome. And so you automatically get defensive, even though there's really no need to be. So this is more so about being tactful. So the goal this month, I think, will be being tactful in how you defend yourself, how you stand up for what you believe in, and how you set boundaries. Because there's a blunt way to do it, and there's a nicer way to do it. Now, that's not saying that you need to sugarcoat anything, because you can be straight to the point while still being kind and considerate. It's when it comes from the heart, the truth will always be more palatable than the truth that comes from obligation, fear, lack, or anger. So keep that in mind as the goal this month, to be truthful yet tactful, fast moving, and to see things from a higher perspective. Now, the obstacle to overcome this month for you guys is the Eight of Pentacles. So the Eight of Pentacles it can be a couple of different things. It can be focusing too much on one thing to the exclusion of all else, and therefore losing track of things or missing something in the process. It can also just be about study and hard work, putting your head down and really getting down into the grind of things to accomplish a series of tasks, and to therefore, complete a project of some kind. So again, there needs to be balance with this, right? So if you're studying, that's really good, but make sure that you're also taking time for breaks. If you're working really hard, that's really good. But again, make sure that you're taking time for breaks, because you don't want to overwork yourself. You don't want to burden yourself with the feeling that you just need to keep pushing. You need to keep pushing. That is really detrimental in the long run, and it's actually worse for productivity. So, for example, in the Western world, it is very commonplace to work from 9 to 5. It's not like that in some other locations in the world. Okay, so for example, in Spain, they take a siesta. Why? Because it increases productivity. When you have a nap in the middle of the day, and I mean, it's also geologically, it just makes sense because it gets so hot at that point in the day that they need to take a nap. But if you think about it, here in certain places, it might be hot at that time of the day too. And we're just kind of in the mentality that we need to push through it. We need to work harder. We need to take on more and do more and be busier and be better, and trying to always attain these unachievable goals of perfection. And we run ourselves ragged in the process. So it's really about looking at the overall productivity rather than the productivity that needs to happen right here and now. So yes, there's a very fast way to do it, but is that the most efficient way? The Knight of Swords, yes, he's very fast moving, and he likes to get things done really quickly, but then again, he's also the most likely to trip and fall, because he's not thinking things through in a holistic manner. He's really just looking at here in the moment what he's thinking. So it's important for you guys to see the bigger picture. I think that's why that hawk is there as well, and it was coming forward in the Aries reading too. So seeing the bigger picture. Oh, they're drawing my attention to the spider webs in this. And so the spider is a really good representation of that as well. The web, everything is connected. So if one part of the web goes down, then it doesn't function as well as a whole. And this can be thought of the same way as the weakest link in the chain, right? So you don't want to have weak links within your chain, whether that's in your business, in your relationships, or within yourself. You really want to make sure that everything is functioning to maximum capacity. And to do that, you really have to take care of yourself, to take breaks, and to make sure that you're taking a minute to stop and look around and see things from a wider perspective. Now, the major accomplishment you have is the Nine of Cups. So this is a good accomplishment. This is really about fulfillment. This is about emotional fulfillment. This is having more than enough and wanting to be hospitable and to share that with others. So, all of this hard work that you're doing on balancing and standing up for what you believe in and moving forward and putting in the hard work, the accomplishment in November really is having more than enough and feeling fulfilled in what it is that you're doing. So it's not to say that anything you're doing is wrong. It's not. Because look, you're getting that fulfillment and that's really all it boils down to. It's not even so much about productivity at this point, it's more about how you feel. Do you feel good? Well, then it's productive. Do you feel worn out, exhausted, overworked, emotionally drained? Well, then it's not productive. So that's kind of the standpoint you need to look at it from. And if you're in the latter category, then it would be beneficial to sort of look at some of these balancing things, taking breaks and whatnot, to step back and be able to find where it is that you will be able to accomplish this sense of fulfillment emotionally. And yeah, it's this Nine of Cups energy. It's very much about plenty. It's having more than enough. It's feeling full and doing it on your own and for yourself as well, because the nine is a very solitary number. It relates back to the major arcana, the Hermit, and you can see he's sort of like the innkeeper or the barkeep. You know, he's the one standing behind the counter. And yes, he's willing to share with other people, but he's the one on that side of the counter, nobody else. So the next we have what to avoid, which is the world. So now that's interesting to me because the world card is about things coming full circle. This is the last card in the major arcana, so it's things coming to an end. But again, ends denote new beginnings as well. So it's never really an end, it's always just sort of a transition. And you can see that in other cards in the tarot, such as the Wheel of Fortune and Death. But the world, so the world is more, it's at a larger scale. This isn't just, you know, a small transition during of one aspect of your life. This is a really, really big transition or a really big conclusion um, overall. So this is, you know, in some decks, the world is called the universe. So it's also universal energies or worldly energies, the collective type of energies, things that we we collectively believe in or lend our energy towards. So I think in terms of work, that could be the concepts I was talking about between, you know, different parts of the world. For love and relationships, this could be the conclusion of a relationship or the beginning or reaffirmation of a existing relationship, you know, things um, becoming more stable. So it really just depends on what's going on in your life. It's hard to give context to things like this very specifically when there's so many different options and so many different people. That's where personal readings are great. But yeah, the world, I'm also seeing her looking to the past. So that I think is more so what the avoid situation is around. So avoid looking to the past and focusing on the mistakes that were made there, because it's not about the pitfalls and the mistakes and the trials. It's more about where you're at now because of it. So if you went back and changed your past, you wouldn't be the same person that you are now. So it's seeing it from that wider, complete perspective. Look at it even larger than you've tried to before. Try to see it from a world, a universal, an infinite perspective. Like you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to be doing. And if you don't like it, then you can change it. And if you like it, then you've got that Nine of Cups energy to acknowledge the fact that you've done well. So be proud of that. What to embrace? We have the Four of Wands. So this could be a celebration of some kind, celebrating your stability, celebrating how far you've come. This could be something in your honor, perhaps. you know, acknowledging the hard work that you've put in. This could be people recognizing you, either, um, you know, at a large scale, or it could just be people in your life are coming forth and telling you how much you mean to them, how much you've helped them, how much they love you, um, that kind of thing. But at a larger scale, it really could be, you know, putting yourself out into the public eye in the past and then now receiving some kind of public reward. Really depends again. But the Four of Wands can also indicate a relationship being becoming more committed. So if this is a relationship thing, then there may be marriage or thoughts of marriage in the offing, or you could be looking at what you don't want out of a committed relationship. So being in the what to embrace position, it could be a new perspective on marriage or a new perspective on relationships or your current relationship. So, where to find support? We have the Two of Swords. So, this is about being impartial, making a decision, guarding yourself, protecting yourself in some way as well. But I really see this, especially when it comes up in a support position, as being impartial. So try not to judge what you see from other people. Try not to judge yourself as well. When making a decision or making a choice, especially since you have two twos here, November may be a month where you have to make some decisions as to how you're going to move forward with work or with love or with your beliefs, your actions, as well as your thoughts. So, again, this is that world energy. It's kind of affecting all areas of your life. It's not just your thoughts or your emotions or your career or your love life. It's everything. It's all of it. And you may not have made the connections previously, but that's where that energy comes in to kind of bring things together. And we've got the sun here, which I'll touch on in a second. But the Two of Swords, again, it's the mind. The swords are air, so it represents thought. And she's blindfolded, so it's about more using your intuition rather than your logical thought. And there does need to be a balance between those two. It can't be purely intuition, it can't be purely thought. I mean, it can, but it will work better for you if it's a little bit of both. So trust your intuition, but also be aware of logic and what would work best for you moving forward. You are at free will, you have the choices to make. You have twos sandwiching the Nine of Cups. So you have the choices here about how you want to bring balance to your life to attain this fulfillment long term and going forward. And last but not least, we have advice and encouragement being the sun. So this is where I was kind of saying, you know, you may not see the connections between things at this point, but in November, something will come to light that will allow you to see it from this wider vantage point and to put the puzzle pieces together, as it were, between all of these different areas of your life and the underlying motivations and factors that are driving you to make the choices and take the actions that you are or that you have. So again, don't focus on the past too much, but look at things objectively, non-judgmentally, simply discerning and making connections where they fit. And the sun really helps you with that because it's the light of day. It's hard to see things at night, but in the light of day, you can see everything really clearly. You can understand everything because you can see it. So this is like the light of day shining on your life, and you're all of a sudden able to make these connections, to understand things, to see things that you may not have seen previously, to put things together in a new way and therefore become more stable, more grounded, and not that you already aren't grounded because you are a Taurus, of course, which is a very stable, grounded earth sign. And you have, you know, you've got two major arcana here, and the rest are court cards. So a little bit of significant stuff going on here, but nothing too big. This is fairly day-to-day stuff, so it's not like your whole life is getting an overhaul, but there will be connections made that will, in the future, allow you to put an end to certain cycles and begin something new, having put everything together instead of having it all in pieces. So yeah, Taurus, that's your reading. I'm also going to pull some love cards from the um, romance angels, and we will see what comes up. So Taurus and relationships. Playfulness. To recapture romance, allow your inner youthful spirit of fun to shine. Okay. And past life relationship. You have known each other before. Okay. Religious factors. Okay, so this card actually came up in the Aries love reading as well. So again, there's some correlations here. Perhaps the other person is an Aries, or maybe you're an Aries and you're cross watching. Who knows? But there's some connections going on there with a couple of the cards. So you got playfulness, um, past life relationship, and religious factors, which is your love life is influenced by your religious upbringing and spiritual path. So this is quite clearly a spiritual connection, especially since it's spiritual path, your past life relationship. So it really depends. Past life relationships and soulmates, it can mean a lot of things. People tend to glorify a soulmate. Don't even get me started on twin flames. But there's this big hype around, oh, we knew each other in a past life, so we're meant to be together. It's not always the case. Soulmates can come in to teach you something. They can come in to balance karma. They can come in because you have a soul contract of some kind. Again, those are the first two can be represented in contract form, and that can be negative or positive. So you never really know, especially if there's something to do with the religious upbringing and spiritual path. This could be very positive, or this could be something that needs to be looked at, to be healed, to be released. The playfulness card gives me a good indication that it's something fairly light, but I want to get some additional cards just to see. Page of Swords in reverse. Three of Pentacles. Oh, that's too many. That's like 5. The Knight of Wands. Okay, so, okay. Well, I'm getting a very immature type of energy here. So the Three of Pentacles, the Page of Swords in reverse, and the Knight of Wands. Now, okay, so we can look at this in two different ways. Immaturity can be playfulness, innocence, youthful spirit of fun, right? But it can also be, in the negative sense, emotional or mental immaturity, like a lack of commitment, or people not being able to communicate maturely. So this can be, allowing yourself to get triggered. Not necessarily you, or it could be other people. It could be the relationship as well. So, you know, it's hard to say, but I I get the feeling that this is more of an innocent type of energy, especially since you've got the Sun card underneath as well. In this deck, it's not the traditional um, depiction of the sun, which is usually like a naked little kid riding a white horse in a sunflower field. This one's, completely different, but the sun card itself is very much also about innocence. So this can really be about innocence in a new relationship, just allowing things to unfold, working together, getting feedback, communicating, trying to communicate in a healthy way, although sometimes wires can get crossed, especially if there's past life history. It really depends on the individual and the connection. So it's hard to really go into detail with these kinds of things without doing a full-on personal reading, because each relationship is going to be so vastly different depending on what occurred in those past lives and the choices that were made in this life to reflect that. But overall, it's looking pretty optimistic from my perspective. I always choose to see the glasses half full anyway. So you guys take what resonates with you. You interpret it how it relates to you. Again, it's general, so keep that in mind. Also, time is fluctuating. It's not linear. So if this doesn't make sense for you right now, maybe come back to it later and see if it applies in some way, or just keep it in mind as you go about the month of November and going forward, or some of this energy may have already started to play out in the previous months. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, all of the information can be found in the description box below. Just hit the show more button and I have a list of all my services and offerings, as well as the pricing and my email, so you can reach out to me with what you would like to order and we can get that set up for you. So I highly recommend the readings if you're looking for some additional insight into a specific situation or some guidance. And I highly recommend the Reiki sessions if you're looking to boost your energy, clear a path, tap into your natural gifts, or to do some really deep soul healing and soul work. It really it's just going to depend on what you feel called to. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you resonated and that you gained something from this reading, something positive. It's always what I set the intention for. And if you did resonate and you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to receive notifications, don't forget to hit the little bell button next to the subscribe so that you'll see when I'm posting new videos. I love you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.